start teaching and learning safety practices, which is infection control. The content standard is a student demonstrates sanitation and sterilization practices in the field of cosmetology. The benchmark is the student applies regulations and guidelines in the proper handling and disposal of the equipment, supplies, and chemicals in cosmetology. Performance standards explains the difference between sanitation and sterilization, maintaining clean towels, combs, brushes, implements, and working areas with appropriate sanitizing agents, ensures that all products and chemicals are kept in labeled closed containers, conducts services in a safe environment, takes measures to prevent the spread of infectious and contagious diseases, adheres to the product manufacturer's directions for safe use that appear on the product labeling. This right here is probably one very important one, because you do not ever want to alter a chemical that has been created by chemists and has been tested and tested and tested and has been given the instructions that we're supposed to follow. Plus, if anybody has allergic reaction, you'll never even know what they were allergic to. Complies with building fire prevention, fire drills, and evacuation codes and procedures. We've got a pretty big class. So half of the class, we've got a back door, we'll go out the back door. Half of the class will come out the front door. We are the largest class, so we actually have to kind of take it a little bit faster to get out of the building, whether it's a fire drill or whether it's a for real. New Mexico Board of Barbers and Cosmetology, also known as NMBBC, they govern the compliance of maintenance of sanitary conditions for the prevention of disease. The New Mexico Board of Barbers and Cosmetology, they actually are in control of all of our licenses. That's the reason why we have to take a state test. So what happens is if they come into a salon, I'm a licensed professional and I should know all my laws. And if they come in and I'm not maintaining clean brushes, a clean floor, I'm putting customers in danger of bacteria and infection, what they can do is they can actually write me up, give me a certain amount of time to correct it, fine me, imprison me, or both, okay? So you've got to be really careful and be on top of your game, because when you get your license, you have taken a test that you are saying that you understand the laws of New Mexico for working in a salon or barbershop or wherever, whatever establishment teaches and practices what we do in this industry. So you are basically saying, yes, I was told, yes, I read it, yes, I understand. So when they come back to you and say, you know, you need to be cleaning up that hair after every customer, you can't say, well, I didn't know, because you learned it. Federal agencies, you've got OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, that regulates and enforces safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace. OSHA is very huge when it comes down to the workplace. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Red and Green report that they do on Channel 7 News. What they do is OSHA goes into a restaurant to make sure that they are maintaining everything in sanitation, disinfection. You can't have certain disinfectants too close to a certain area. So what they do is they come in to make sure that everything is being in compliance, okay? If they're there and they see a mouse run across the kitchen, they're gonna shut you down until you fix that problem, okay? Or they might shut you down completely. SDS is safety data sheets. Federal and state laws require that manufacturers supply an SDS for all chemical products manufactured and sold. This is the SDS, MSDS that we keep in our classroom. And what it basically is every chemical that we use in this classroom has been put into this book. So if for some odd reason somebody has an allergic reaction, and the paramedics come, they're probably going to want to ask you and want to know where the MSDS or the SDS book is at, because they want to see the actual ingredients that's inside that chemical to understand what they're dealing with, okay? So any place of business that deals with chemicals has to have one of these. So any of you guys that are working even in fast food, in restaurants, If there's any chemicals being used, you should always know where this is at. EPA's Environmental Protection Agency, they register all different types of disinfectants. Example, disinfectant wipes, okay? If you want to know if it's a for real product, usually on the back or on the side and the bottom, you'll see where it says EPA registration number. So what this is saying is the Environmental Protection Agency is saying that what this does is exactly what it does, okay? So if you guys, let's say, even go to the Dollar Tree and you want to know if it's an actual real disinfectant, just look for the EPA number. That'll be the dead giveaway. Infection control cleaning is the process of scrubbing using soap and water or detergent to remove all visible dirt, debris, and many disease-causing germs. So in our classroom, you're going to have brushes. Brushes are going to get dirty. So what you've got to do is you've got to remove the hair off the brushes. You've got to go and wash them under hot, warm, or soapy water. Once you're done doing that, then you place them in a disinfectant. Then they're going to disinfect for a certain amount of time. Then you're going to rinse them. Okay, so that's the cleaning part of it. The sanitation is the chemical process for reducing the number of disease-causing germs on a clean surface. Okay, so when you're setting up for manicure, you're going to sanitize and disinfect your area. Okay. Disinfection, chemical products designed to destroy harmful organisms on surfaces. In our industry, we do a lot of disinfection. We actually pick up a lot. I learned from a lot of people that actually work in fast food places that their sanitation and disinfection is also kicked up now through this pandemic. Sterilization is a procedure to kill or destroy all microbes. Requires heat and pressure. This is not practiced in cosmetology or barbering. This is only done in hospital level. This is only done when they're actually going underneath skin level. We do not go under skin level. We work above skin level, okay? So sterilization is the use of high heat. It's the use of high pressure. We don't do that in our industry. Sanitation is the public sanitation is a promotion to protect public health and to prevent the spread of infectious disease. So when you sanitize an area, when you sanitize tools, you're basically just making it so you're not going to spread anything from one person to another or from one area to a person. Importance of sanitation. New Mexico Board of Barbers and Cosmetologists make the inspection. Visits to spas, salons, barber shops, nail shops, and schools. So they're not going to call and give you a warning. They're just going to pull up into the parking lot, come out of their cars, and walk straight into your establishment. They're going to be checking for everything. They have every right to check in your stations without your permission. Okay? If you are not in compliance with anything, then what they're going to do is they're probably going to write you up. And depending on how you're working in there, if you are working and they come in and they check your station and it's just your station that was a mess, they're probably going to write you up and give you a certain time frame to fix it. Okay? And if you don't, then it starts advancing after that. I actually had a student many years ago. His mom owned a salon in Las Vegas. Had issues with the guy, constantly wouldn't clean up his stuff, and he landed up, he was gonna go and pretty much help his mother own it and work with it. Well, the salon got shut down, and it was based on because he was running a dirty salon. Clean towels must be kept in the closed cabinet. Once you wash them, you fold them, you put them away, so that way they're not exposed. Use a clean towel for each client. I don't care if it's you and your best friend, you and your child, you and your parent. You gotta have a clean towel for every single person. Wash hands before and after each client. If you go to Lotta Burger and eat one of their hamburgers, because those onions are vicious, You do not want to come back, not wash your hands to give a facial. Remove creams from a container with a spatula. You never want to dig in with your fingers, not only in a place of business because you'll contaminate the product. You shouldn't even do that even in your own home, okay, because you'll contaminate the product. I know dealing with acne for so many years, being prescribed so many meds, they would send me with a spatula every single time with a cream medication that they would give me for my issues that I was having with my face. Chemicals must be stored in labeled containers. Spray bottle of alcohol, spray bottle of water, they're going to look identically the same, okay? You don't ever uncap them and try to guess and figure it out. I learned that from personal experience. I have no sense of smell. Miss Romero and Mr. Soto flip out on how I can eat hot chili and not even faze me. But it's because I lost my sense of smell. I was young, my mom got sick. I remember her cleaning the bathtub, and I remember her having her little cleaning tub, so I took it and I went to go clean the bathtub, not knowing, just remembering the things that I would see her use. As I went and got the either Ajax or Clorox powder, and I poured it on the bottom of the tub. Then I got ammonia and put it right on top of it. I knew it was ammonia because you can't not know what ammonia is when you uncap it. And I completely passed out. Later on, I got checked, with the doctor because I was having a hard time smelling stuff. And he said that I pretty much burned the lining of my nose. So you can stink, I'd never know. Chemical agents most effectively used in spa salons, barbershops, and nail shops. We use chemicals to keep our areas clean. We don't use heat, okay? Must be labeled and stored properly. You will learn that. I know that there's certain chemicals that cannot be stored next to another chemical. Here in this classroom, we actually have, what are they called?
It's a fireproof cabinet.
Fireproof cabinets. And we put our chemicals inside those cabinets so that way they won't blow up if for some odd reason there lands up being a fire in this classroom. Clorox we use to wash towels. Everybody should know what Clorox is. We pretty much all have it in our laundry area, mostly used to wash your white clothes. Marvicide is used to disinfect brushes and combs. Marvicide is kinder to brushes and combs than what it is to metal tools. It can eat up your brushes and combs if you leave it too long or make it too strong. Marvicide 2 was created because nail techs were using Marvicide 1. They were putting their nail clippers, they were putting their cuticle nippers, they were putting their metal tools in it, and it was causing a rust. Once a tool starts to rust, you got to get rid of it. There you go, buying new tools. So they created Marvicide 2, and Marvicide 2 does not rust metal tools, but it works better on metal tools. You wouldn't really want to use it on your combs and brushes. 2 categories of chemicals. You got a disinfectant, which kills most bacteria and cannot be used on the skin. So as a matter of fact, you were to get Lysol spray, okay? You guys probably all grew up with Lysol spray. Grandmas probably use it to spray down the doorknobs. They use it to spray in the air. You would not use that on your skin. Marvicide, Marvicide 2, Clorox or alcohol of 99%. An antiseptic retards the growth of bacteria and are safely used on the skin. Antiseptic can be used on the skin. So as an example, I'm not trying to pick on it, but this is probably the most common service. You go to get your nails done. You're waiting in the waiting area. That table should be sprayed and cleaned before you can even put your hands on it. Then when you put your hands out, well, they will lay it, usually they should lay a brand new towel. Then you put your hands out and they're supposed to spray something on your hands and their hands before you guys can physically even touch each other. I know from my personal experience, and I've said this and I will always say this. If you choose to get into this professional industry, that's your choice. But if we can educate you guys and show you the difference between right and wrong, professional, not professional, then we've done our job. Okay. I know I have seen where they don't disinfect in the station. They will actually sit you down, take the towel that's right on the station, do this into the trash can, relay it down, not even turn it around. Put your hands on top of it. We'll never spray you with anything. Okay? And they'll pick up a file or pick up a drill right away. Never once sanitized it with an antiseptic. Okay? You gotta be very observant because that is your skin. Santiseptic, cool mist, sea breeze, or witch hazel, very common antiseptics for the skin. If any of you guys use toners, that's another type of antiseptic. A wet sanitizer must be a covered container that contains a disinfectant solution. So after you've used the tools on your client, a comb to maybe do a haircut, a brush to do a style, once you're done using it, you've got to disinfect and clean it, okay? Remove the hair, wash it with soapy water, rinse it, put it in your container, okay? You do not, unless you don't have a lot of them, but you can actually, if you've got enough to get you through a day, you can sanitize it at the end of the day, okay? But it's got to have a disinfectant and it's got to be covered in order for it to be a true wet sanitizer. We had at one of the beauty colleges that I was working at, we had a big igloo container that had our disinfectant in it because we had so many students constantly using it. And it always had the label on it. Of all days, the label fell off the day an inspection happened. So we got written up because the label was right there on the floor. So we had 30 days to fix it. We fixed it within 5 minutes. But I mean, it's just that. That's how they take it that serious. A dry sanitizer, all sanitized tool implements and clean towels must be kept in a dry sanitizer, which can be a cabinet for the towels, a drawer that is clean, and a closed container that is clean. So once you're done disinfecting, you've got to protect it, okay? I know for a fact a lot of barbershops were kind of getting dinged because you go to a barber, you sit down, you get your hair cut, and it's pretty much assembly line. I mean, it's just boom, 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 one right after the other. Well, they weren't cleaning their clipper guards. And when you've got the clipper blade and the guard, there's hair that gets trapped inside of it, okay? And the sanitation was not being done correctly. So scalp funguses were being passed around from one guy to another, okay? So once you clean your tools, even if it's a clipper, you're done for the end of the day, you disinfected it, you put them away so that way they're not exposed. Bacteriology is a science that deals with the study of microorganisms called bacteria, okay? And that's always our fear on a daily basis, is something's gonna have bacteria. Bacteria, pretty much, it lives everywhere, okay? But how you keep your workspace clean is what's gonna not have a lot of that happen, okay? Bacteria is also known as germs or microbes, can only be seen with a microscope. You can't walk up to a table and say, oh, look, I can see the bacteria. It's got to be done under a microscope. Are spread by unclean hands, okay? And if you guys have noticed with this pandemic, your hands are probably getting dried up, okay? Because of us having to hand wash so much. But you want to keep a non-scented lotion with you so that way you constantly lubricate your hands and keep them moist, because otherwise your skin, your cuticles are going to start cracking. And next one, bacteria will enter the body through broken skin, Okay, so try to keep your hands where they don't have any broken skin. If they do, use gloves. Bacteria exists everywhere. Skin, beneath the nails, water, clothing, and air. Probably the biggest one right now that I've noticed, and I've noticed it now, working with a lot of teenagers, you guys have your nails done and then you go get a job. And this job deals with food. So the requirement is you cannot have acrylic or artificial nails. Why? Because if you have natural nails and you get dirt underneath it, you'll see it if there's no polish. Okay? You put an artificial nail on top of it, it'll start cradling on the bottom and you won't even know it. Okay? We try to tell people that are getting nails done to keep a nail brush underneath your nails when you go wash your hands, but not everybody's going to do it. There's two types of bacteria. One is good and one is bad. Okay? Good germs and bad germs. Good germs are harmless. They're called non-pathogenic bacteria. I always remember it by no path. Okay? It doesn't move. Think of an orange in a bowl with a bunch of oranges. Your orange, one, starts to rot. Okay? That rotting orange is never going to help rot the rest of them. It stays right there, rotting on its own. It will have, it'll start getting green, of course, moldy. And the funny thing is that is actually a form of penicillin. We know penicillin as an antibiotic used to treat infections. Okay? Bad germs are harmful. They're called pathogenic bacteria. And I always remember this, they like to create a path from one area to another, one person to another. Strep throat is a good example of one. Okay? You have strep throat, you start sharing a Coke or start sharing things with your best friend, she's probably going to have it within a couple of days. Immunity, there's two types, natural and acquired. Natural is partly inherited and partly developed through healthy living. Okay? So if you are that one person that everybody in the house catches a cold or gets the flu, and you're the one that just doesn't, your immunity is probably really good, okay, that you won't get it. Acquired immunity is when the body overcomes a disease or a vaccine. So you go get the flu shot, okay? They're injecting you with the flu, believe it or not. So your body is now going to pretty much try to fight it off. You're going to get the flu, but it raises your immunity so that way you won't get it as bad, okay? Chickenpox is another one. You guys will never experience chickenpox the way we have. You guys get a shot when you're a kid, you guys get another shot when you're a teenager, okay? They got rid of chickenpox because it causes shingles. Shingles is painful. It really, really affects older people. It could affect my age. I actually had it, and it's very painful because the chickenpox and the shingles actually are connected to nerve endings, and it will cause some pain if you've got shingles. So they're trying to avoid that for you guys, so that way when you guys are high levels of stress, you won't break out in shingles and land up at a doctor's office in severe pain. We're all done. So reread the notes so that way you guys can catch on to things. I hope you guys took some notes if I gave examples so that way you can remember. But alrighty, we're all done.
All right. Okay, good afternoon, class, or good morning, I should say. I'm going to teach you the portion of the practical portion of the sanitation and sterilization lesson. So on the cart here today, I have the products that Ms. Jaramillo has been talking about. I'm going to tell you about the disinfecting solutions and the antiseptic solutions, okay? We're going to start off with Barbicide, okay? Barbicide is a disinfectant solution. We use these at the salon to disinfect our combs and our brushes. I have here a wet sanitizer. Here's the wet sanitizer. This is for brushes only. I fill this up to the line where it says wet sanitizer. I immerse all my brushes in here, and then I fill it up with a full capful of this Barbicide goes in there. And then we let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. Then we take them out. And when you're going to remove these combs and brushes from this solution, make sure you're either wearing gloves or you're using like tongs to pull them out, okay? So gloves, don't just put your hands in there, because that's a disinfectant solution. It's a chemical. You don't want to get it on you. And so that's what you're going to do for the wet sanitizer for brushes. Now I want to just let you know about this. We have different kinds of brushes here. Okay? Different kinds of brushes. We have a round brush, we have a couple vent brushes, we have a bristle brush, okay? And so before you immerse them in the wet sanitizer, you want to make sure that you remove all the hair. Remove all the hair from them. So you're going to take a comb, remove all the hair, you're going to take the hair out, and you're going to throw it in the trash can, okay? Don't go and leave them with hair in, the brushes have hair on them, and then you put them in the wet sanitizer, because they're still not going to be, they're not going to be clean. So you really have to make sure that you put, and they're free of hair, and when you immerse them in the wet sanitizer. This is what you'll see when you come back to the classroom. The wet sanitizer for combs only. And here we have some picks. We have some just regular styling combs. We have some rat tail combs. We have a detangler comb or a tint comb. We have some butterfly clips, and those, we're pretending these were used on clients already. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to immerse with the wet sanitizer. The same thing, you fill it up, and then you put a cap full of that wet sanitizer. I will tell you that one time what you see in the salons, okay, or barbershops, is usually like a jar. It's called a Marvicide jar. And you see that in the salons, and you see the people, the stylists putting their combs in there. Well, I never realized that I could get fined for making my solution too blue. So the state board came in. My solution was a little too blue, so they wrote up that the solution was too blue and that I needed to dilute it, because it was actually harmful to my products instead of helping them. Okay, so 10-15 minutes, we remove them, we rinse them out really good, and then we dry them, and then they go in what we call the dry sanitizer. And the dry sanitizer in the dispensary, you'll find, is just a closed cabinet. You'll see all our combs and brushes. They're laid out there, and they're in baskets, and those we know are clean. So that is the Barbicide that we use there. Here's Marvicide. We can use Marvicide, okay, Marvicide 2. We can use this one for implements. So we can use that on our scissors. We can use that on metal implements that we need to clean, on our tweezers, those types of things, on our nail clippers. That's what you would use for Marvicide 2. Okay, we also have your common household Clorox. Clorox is what you would use in this school, and we use this in the salon. We use this to wash our towels, and we put Clorox in the wash. Okay, and we have a washroom here. We have in the back here in our classroom, we have a washer and dryer. We do our own towels. We use laundry soap, and we use some Clorox to disinfect our towels. On the white towels. The white towels, okay, we use the white towels, we use them for facials, for manicures, and for hairstyling. The red towels, where we don't put any Clorox in these ones, these little wine colored towels, this one right here, we don't put any Clorox, okay, because you would then bleach them out and they would no longer be this color, as you know. So white towels for manicures, facials, and hairstyling, shampooing, and these ones for color. Okay, so that is the disinfectants that you would use in the classroom as far as for cleaning combs, brushes, and towels. Then we have this new disinfectant that they have brought out. that the custodians put out in every classroom this year. It's a disinfectant solution, and they want us to use this on the counters, on all the counters, when we enter here, when we leave here, okay? We've always used a disinfectant solution, and we always used what we called Marvicide. It was in a bottle like this. It said disinfectant. It was kind of a light blue because it's been diluted. But this year, we are going to use the one that they have provided for us here at school, just the disinfectant solution. They said this is it helps with viruses, all right? And then we have this one here that is tough duty. It's an all-purpose degreaser and cleaner. I read the bottle, and this one doesn't say anything about like killing 99% of the virus, nothing like that. So I'm going to assume that it's just a cleaner and a deodorant, a degreaser. Okay, excuse me. I'm going to come back here. These are Lysol wipes. Okay, disinfectant wipes. They're not Lysol brand, but they say that they kill 99.9% of bacteria. We use these in the classroom. Last year, we were using about 10 of these a day with 4 classes, about 10 of these a day. And so we would wipe down all the surfaces. We would wipe down the chairs, and these are used as disinfectant wipes. Unfortunately, now with this pandemic, it's hard to find them. We're not able to find these disinfectant wipes as easily as we could in the past. So when we come back to class, if we can't find these, we will be using this disinfectant, okay? So make sure when you're at home that you are sanitizing your implements, your brushes, your combs. You are going to receive in your kit, and pardon me for looking here, but I had it here. Here it is, okay? You guys are going to get a kit that's going to be your own this year, combs and brushes, everything you're going to need, and we want you to disinfect these at home. And so at home, you don't have Barbicide. I would use in a bath, put a little bit, like in a little tub, put some soap, antibacterial soap. You can even use like Dawn soap, like soap that you wash dishes, and then put a cap full of Clorox in with these so you can sanitize them, okay, when you use them, after you use them. So you will all bring this back with you when you come back to class, when they allow us to come back to class, okay? So that will be yours to keep. And then if you need to use additional brushes or combs, we're going to disinfect them in the wet sanitizer. All right, so does that make sense? This is a wet sanitizer with disinfectant materials that you're going to use, chemicals that you're going to put in there, and then the other, you're going to have a dry sanitizer that's in the dispensary, and that's where you would put the combs and brushes away. We also have, for you guys, we have a window or a mirror cleaner. This is the window cleaner. We use it for mirrors. We have these handheld mirrors that we use in the classroom. We also have mirrors all through the classroom, okay, that we use this for, the window cleaner. So every day that you come to class and you're sitting at your station, a part of your grade, a big part of your grade, is that you leave your station the way you found it, okay, that you've disinfected it, you've cleaned it, that it is free of any debris. You don't leave anything laying on your station, and it is clean as you found it, okay? The other thing that I want to tell you is, I think Ms. Jaramillo mentioned to you in the sanitizing class, is if you have a jar of product, this is massage cream. You guys are going to get a massage cream in your packet that you're going to get your supplies for facials. So this is facial massage cream, okay? They're going to come in these little packets. They're going to be labeled, but I would never come in here and open this and stick my hands in there and fill them. You need to use a spatula or a plastic spoon. Make sure it's clean. The one that you're going to dip every day, that it is a clean spoon, okay? So don't use the same one unless you've cleaned it. So that's another way to prevent any type of contaminating your product. Prevent it from contaminating because you're using the right the right way to do it. Okay, the other thing, now those are all called disinfectants, okay? Now I want to talk to you about, make sure that whenever you're using disinfectants, that you have them in the right bottle and that they have been labeled correctly, because you can see that I have a bottle here that is labeled water. Can you guys see that? Water. You can see that if I use the same bottle and I didn't label it and I put alcohol in it, that could run into some problems, right? So you want to make sure that you label it. If it's labeled, that's what you think it is, that you don't leave anything unlabeled. In this classroom, if you find something that's not labeled, don't use it until you ask us what's in there, because sometimes maybe we forgot to label it or the label came off and we didn't replace it. That is very rare, but nevertheless, we want to make sure that you know that everything has to be labeled, okay? Then we have antiseptics. These are antiseptics. You guys, we've been using, we've been using Germex and these hand sanitizers since all this pandemic started. This is Germex that we've been using. This is considered an antiseptic for us. It is, there's some alcohol in here. And so it's an antiseptic. You can use this on your hands, on your, wherever you're trying to clean, your arms. And it clearly says on the active ingredient, it says ethyl alcohol, 63%, and it's an antiseptic, okay? So there you go. You can use that for that purpose. We also have Cool Mist. Cool Mist, okay, is an antiseptic. It's used on the face. We use this after facials. It's kind of the same thing as like sea breeze or witch hazel. So you would use this for facials. So you're going to take a little bit on a piece of cotton and then you're going to use it as an astringent after facials. And you'll learn more about astringents when we do the facials. This is Saniseptic. Saniseptic, you can spray it on your hands like this. I keep one of these in the salon. It's made by Custom Nail Technology. That is actually a local person here in town, Mrs. Hearn, who owns this company. And this is what she uses. She has a nail acrylic product, but I love her Saniseptic because it's wonderful for sanitizing hands. It's good to just use it on your table before you start to do your manicure, but it is also considered an antiseptic. So don't confuse antiseptics, okay, with disinfectants. You can't put this on the skin, all right? But you can put these on the skin. So don't confuse the two. You cannot confuse the two like the Lysol wipes, like these disinfectant wipes. Last year, I had a student, we were doing hair color, and she wanted to remove the color around her face. And I saw her using one of these, and I had to stop her and say, you cannot use a disinfectant wipe around your face to remove the color, but you can take one of these baby wipes and just put a little more clean and touch on there, and that you can use on your face, okay? Because we have baby wipes that we use for special effects makeup. And there was some on the counter too that day. So I told her, use that, don't use this, okay? So if, with that said, you now understand the difference between an antiseptic, a disinfectant, what is a wet sanitizer, what is a dry sanitizer. In the dispensary, you will find cabinets. When you get back to school, you'll find cabinets that have just all the combs and brushes laid out, and those have been cleaned. But before, I cannot stress to you enough that you got to remove the hair. You've got to throw it in the trash. Do not throw it on the floor. And when you come to our class, you will understand why. If you throw that hair on the floor that we have in here, it will camouflage that hair. And I have fallen on the floor at least twice because I slipped on the hair. The hair is very, very slippery. So they took it off the brush and threw it on the floor, and there I went, okay? So don't throw it on the floor, put it in the trash can. I know you guys get into hurrying up and whatever, but don't do that. Make sure you put it in the trash can. We have a mannequin brush. This is a mannequin brush. You can see that it's a wire. The bristles are wire. You would never use this wire brush on you or on somebody else. This is strictly for the mannequins. It never gets sanitized except that you pull just the hair out and throw it out, okay? The mannequins, you just brush them. They don't have a live scalp, as you know. So you know what? They're not going to get head lice, okay? This is why this is so important that we follow these rules using these chemicals, because we don't want to have some kind of disorder or disease in this classroom. First one being head lice. You got to be really careful. You can't share the same comb. You cannot share the same brush. It's got to be cleaned. Head lice, for some reason, when school starts, it's usually kind of like it goes rampant for different things. Last year on the news, there was an article about super lice, that these head lice were even harder to treat. They were a little more stubborn. So that's what we don't want to have in this classroom, or I would not want you to have it anywhere. But more than that, we need to do this diligently so that we prevent the spread of any disease in this classroom, one being head lice. These are never going to be used on a person, so these only on mannequins. Don't put them in the wet sanitizer, because guess what? These will rust. All of these will rust. I had to throw several of these out last year because students just started throwing them in the wet sanitizer. Don't do that. Now you can throw, okay, right here, you guys are going to get butterfly clips in your kit. Make sure that you sanitize them as well at home when you're using them. And when you come here, okay, we'll make sure that you get them sanitized as well. Okay, butterfly clips. Anything you put on the hair, you need to put it in a wet sanitizer. Here is a cape. Okay, this is a cape you can use in class when you're doing a hair color, or maybe you're out of dress code and we give you one of these capes. Okay, so these have to be laundered. We've got to put them in the laundry, and so you've got to, once you use them, I'm going to bring the laundry bucket over here. Excuse me. Sorry, I was doing the lesson from another part of the class this morning, and so I had it somewhere else. But right here, you will see this laundry bucket is for dirty, soiled towels. We kind of wheel it around. You will always find it in the dispensary in one of the little corners next to the mannequin stands. And you throw your dirty towels, your dirty laundry in here, your dirty capes, your the little cape, the little robe here that you used if you're going to be doing hair color or anything like that. Okay, so dirty, soiled laundry, towels, it all goes in there, in that receptacle. Okay, and so that is about all I can tell you about sanitation and sterilization in the school here. As you can see, we don't sterilize anything, because sterilization, you need high heat. We sanitize with chemicals. Here and at the salon that you go to, or the barbershop that you go to, that's what you do. So anyway, you will find this lesson, if you're looking at it right now, you found it, I should say, on our YouTube channel, CEC Cosmetology. For anybody that missed the lesson, you have the lesson right now.